Look up at the night sky and tell me what you see. Most people see a peaceful, silent void where nothing ever changes. But that tranquility is a horrific lie. We have spent thousands of years convincing ourselves that the universe is a clockwork mechanism, a predictable machine that runs on strict, unbreakable laws of physics that ensure our safety. But recently, the gears of that machine have started to grind against each other, producing a data-driven noise that astronomers are desperate to ignore because it signifies a catastrophe. We built cathedrals of science and massive observatories designed to confirm what we already thought we knew, but instead, they return data that has absolutely terrified the experts. The numbers are not adding up, and for the first time in history, NASA is quietly admitting that the fundamental model of our reality might be completely broken. Imagine waking up one day to find that the walls of your house are slowly drifting apart, inch by inch, and the geometry of your room no longer makes sense. This is exactly what is happening to the cosmos right now, and the scientists who are supposed to have the answers are staring at the chalkboard in stunned silence. We call this the crisis in cosmology, a polite academic term for the terrifying realization that we do not understand the basic rules of the game we are playing. You have been taught that the universe is expanding, stretching out into the nothingness, but the speed of that expansion is currently tearing our logic apart. There are two ways to measure the universe, and they should match perfectly, yet they are providing two completely different results that cannot be reconciled. It is as if you measured your own height with a tape measure and got 6 feet, but looked in a mirror and saw a giant towering over the mountains. This discrepancy is known as the Hubble tension, and it suggests that something invisible and massive is interfering with the fabric of space-time itself. Every time we point the James Webb Space Telescope at the edge of time, we expect to see baby galaxies, young and chaotic, forming in the early dark. Instead, we are finding massive, fully formed galaxies that simply should not exist so soon after the Big Bang, defying every timeline we have created. These impossible galaxies are monsters lurking in the cradle of creation, implying that the universe grew up instantly, or that it is infinitely older than we dared to imagine. If the universe is older than the Big Bang, then everything you know about the origin of your atoms, your blood, and your consciousness is a fairy tale. The anxiety in the scientific community is palpable, because if the standard model falls, we are back to the dark ages of understanding, floating blindly in a void. We are forced to ask if we are merely errors in the code, temporary glitches in a system that is far more complex and hostile than we ever believed. Look at the ground beneath your feet. You trust it to be solid, just as you trust the gravity that holds you down. But even gravity is acting suspicious. At the edges of the universe, gravity seems to be failing, or perhaps it is being overpowered by a phantom energy that we cannot see, touch, or comprehend. We call it dark energy, a placeholder name for our own ignorance, a label for the invisible hand that is stretching the universe until it eventually snaps. Imagine being on a boat in the middle of the ocean, and suddenly the water starts rushing away from you in all directions, leaving you suspended in the air. That is the future of our galaxy. We are being isolated by a cosmic tide that is pushing all other light away from us, locking us in a lonely cage. But it gets worse, because deep in the sector of the Centaurus constellation, something massive is pulling us towards it at millions of miles per hour. We call it the Great Attractor, a gravitational anomaly so powerful it is dragging our entire Milky Way galaxy towards a fiery, inevitable destruction. We cannot see what is there because it is hidden behind the dust of our own galaxy, like a predator hiding in the bushes, waiting for us to arrive. Thousands of galaxies are flowing like water down a drain into this mysterious point, and we are just debris caught in the current, helpless to stop the motion. Why does the universe have a drain? Why is there a specific point in space that consumes everything, yet emits no light and defies our mapping technology? Some theorists believe it is a bruise on the universe, a point of contact with another reality that is slowly sucking our matter into its own domain. The idea of the multiverse sounds like science fiction fun, but in reality, it would be a cosmic horror story of collision, annihilation, and physics gone wrong. You might think this doesn't affect you, sitting there watching this screen, but the atoms in your hand are subject to these same breaking laws of physics. If the vacuum of space is not stable, if the energy levels of the universe are off by even a fraction, we could face vacuum decay. This is a bubble of true nothingness that expands at the speed of light, deleting everything it touches, stars, planets, history, and you, instantly and without warning. It could have already started a billion light years away, and we wouldn't know it until the moment we simply cease to exist in this reality. The terrifying part is not that we are going to die, but that the universe itself might be a temporary structure, a sandcastle waiting for the tide. NASA's latest data dumps are not solving these mysteries. They are deepening them, revealing that the further we look, the less we actually understand. We have detected the wow signal again, or something like it. Bursts of energy from deep space that look suspiciously like artificial attempts at communication. But the silence that follows is even heavier, leading to the dark forest theory. The idea that civilizations stay quiet because something out there is hunting them. Are we the noisy children in a dangerous forest, shouting into the dark, unaware that the predators are listening to our radio waves and plotting a course? The Fermi paradox asks, where is everybody? But the answer might be that they are all dead, wiped out by the same cosmic anomalies we are now discovering. We are standing on the precipice of a revelation that will shatter our religions, our philosophies, and our comfort, proving we are strangers in a strange land. The anomalies are multiplying. Stars that vanish without a trace, cold spots that violate thermodynamics, and immense structures that defy the curvature of space-time. We used to think the universe was a home, tailor-made for life. But the evidence suggests it is a hostile, indifferent, and perhaps broken mechanism. The more we learn, the more it looks like a simulation that is running out of memory, glitching at the edges where the rendering simply stops. Is the speed of light a limit? Or is it just the processing speed of the computer that is simulating our consciousness and our history? These questions are no longer the realm of stone philosophers. They are being asked by serious astrophysicists who are looking at data that makes no sense. We have opened a door that we cannot close, and on the other side lies a truth so heavy that humanity might not be ready to carry it. The safety of the Earth is an illusion, a temporary reprieve from the violent chaos that defines the vast majority of the observable cosmos. So buckle up, because we are about to dismantle everything you thought you knew about space, time, and your place within this terrifying void. The investigation begins now, and we must warn you, once you see the cracks in the universe, you will never be able to unsee them. To understand why the scientific community is currently in a state of quiet panic, we must first look at the map we have been using to navigate reality for the last few decades. We call it the Lambda CDM model, or the Standard Model of Cosmology, and for a long time it was our Bible, our perfect explanation for everything from the birth of atoms to the rotation of galaxies. It told us exactly what the universe was made of: a little bit of ordinary matter, a lot of invisible dark matter, and a terrifying amount of dark energy. We built our entire understanding of existence upon this foundation, confident that we had cracked the code of creation. But recently, cracks have appeared in the foundation, fissures so deep that they threaten to bring the whole structure crashing down. We are realizing that the map does not match the territory, and we are driving blind into a landscape that does not obey the rules we wrote down. The universe is not behaving as it should, and the standard model is beginning to look less like a scientific theory and more like a comforting fairy tale we told ourselves to keep the existential dread at bay. The first major crack in our reality comes from the oldest light in the universe, the cosmic microwave background, or CMB. This is the afterglow of the Big Bang, a fossilized snapshot of the universe when it was just 380,000 years old, a searing hot soup of plasma cooling down into the first atoms. When the European Space Agency's Planck satellite scanned this ancient light, it gave us a very precise prediction for how fast the universe should be expanding today. The physics of the early universe are incredibly tight. They tell us that space should be stretching at a rate of 67 kilometers per second per megaparsec. It is a number derived from the pristine, mathematical perfection of the beginning of time. We trusted this number because the math was flawless. It was supposed to be the heartbeat of the cosmos, a steady, predictable rhythm that has been playing since the moment of creation. But when we actually looked at the modern universe to check our work, we found that the heartbeat was wrong. This is where the horror begins to set in, because when astronomers measure the expansion rate of the universe right now, in our local neighborhood, they get a completely different number. By observing Cepheid variable stars, pulsating stars that act as cosmic lighthouses, and the explosions of type Ia supernovae, we can calculate exactly how fast galaxies are moving away from us. And they are not moving at 67 kilometers per second. They are moving at 73 or sometimes 74. This might seem like a small statistical disagreement to a layman, but in the world of physics, this is a catastrophe. It is a 5 sigma discrepancy, which means the odds of this being a random error are 1 in a million. The universe is expanding significantly faster than the laws of physics say it should. It is as if you threw a ball, calculated exactly where it would land based on gravity and wind, and then watched it land 50 feet further away because the laws of motion suddenly changed mid-air. We call this the Hubble tension, a polite, sterile term for what is essentially a breakdown of causality. It implies that either our measurements of the early universe are wrong, our measurements of the modern universe are wrong, or, and this is the option that keeps scientists awake at night, our understanding of physics itself is fundamentally flawed. If the universe is accelerating faster than it should, it means there is an ingredient missing from our recipe of reality. Something happened between the beginning of time and now, something that stepped on the gas pedal of the cosmos. Was it a phase transition? A sudden injection of energy from a parallel dimension? Or is gravity not the constant force we think it is? We are forced to consider that the laws of physics might actually be evolving over time, which would mean we cannot predict the future or the past with any certainty. The bedrock of science is stability, and the Hubble tension is an earthquake. For years, hopeful astronomers prayed that this was just a calibration error. They hoped that the Hubble Space Telescope, aging and weary, had simply gotten the numbers wrong. They pinned their hopes on the James Webb Space Telescope, the most advanced eye humanity has ever built, to resolve the conflict and bring the numbers back into alignment. We launched it 1 million miles away from Earth, shielded it from the sun, and pointed it at the Cepheid variables with unprecedented precision. We wanted it to prove that the universe made sense. We wanted it to save the standard model. But the universe does not care about our models or our comfort. When James Webb sent the data back, it didn't fix the problem, it confirmed it. The tension is real, the discrepancy is real. The universe is torn between 2 different realities, and we are stuck in the middle, trying to figure out which one is true before the sky goes dark. With the confirmation from James Webb, the crisis has deepened into an existential emergency. If the standard model is broken, then we arguably do not know what 95% of the universe is actually doing. We are like ants crawling on a circuit board, understanding the pheromone trails we leave behind but completely oblivious to the electricity flowing through the terrifying machinery beneath our feet. This leads us to the darker theories, the ones that were previously dismissed as fringe lunacy but are now being brought to the main stage. One such theory is early dark energy. The idea is that in the first few moments after the Big Bang, a mysterious field of energy briefly flared up, pushing the universe apart violently before vanishing without a trace. It would be a phantom force, a ghost in the machine that altered the trajectory of our reality and then disappeared, leaving us with a broken timeline that we can never fully reconstruct. But there is a more unsettling possibility, one that challenges the Copernican principle, the idea that we are not special and that our location in the universe is average. What if we are special, but in a terrible way? What if the reason the universe looks like it's expanding faster around us is that we are living inside a massive cosmic void? This is the KBC void theory. It suggests that the Milky Way, Andromeda, and our entire local group of galaxies are trapped inside a gigantic bubble of relative emptiness, 1 billion light-years across. Because there is less matter inside this bubble to pull things back with gravity, everything inside flows outwards faster toward the dense regions outside. If this is true, we are living in the cosmic boondocks, a desolate wasteland of the universe that is significantly emptier than the rest of creation. We are isolated in a quarantine zone of low density, mistaking our lonely exile for the standard state of the universe. Being inside a void would explain the numbers, but the psychological toll of that realization is heavy. It means our view of the cosmos is distorted by a fishbowl effect. We are looking out through the walls of our bubble, and everything we measure is warped by our unique, lonely position. It would mean that the assumptions we make about the rest of the universe based on our local observations are fundamentally flawed. We are assuming the ocean is empty because we are trapped on a desert island. If the KBC void exists, it is the largest structure ever known to humanity, a structure defined not by what it is, but by what it lacks. It is a billion light-year abyss of nothingness, and we are floating right in the center of it, trying to calculate the density of a universe that is vastly more crowded and hostile than the quiet emptiness we see out of our windows. While we struggle with the expansion of space, another monster lurks in the shadows of our own galaxy, holding it together against its will. We call it dark matter, but do not let the name fool you into thinking we know what it is. Dark matter is just a label for a gravitational anomaly. In the 1970s, Vera Rubin realized that galaxies were spinning too fast. Based on the visible matter, the stars, gas, and dust, the outer edges of galaxies should be flinging themselves apart, like a carousel spinning out of control. But they don't. Something invisible is gripping them, a massive halo of unseen mass that provides the extra gravity needed to hold the structure together. We are surrounded by ghosts. For every gram of matter you can see, your hand, the earth, the stars, there are 5 grams of this invisible substance passing right through you, indifferent to your existence. We have built massive detectors deep underground, buried in abandoned mines and shielded by mountains of lead, waiting for a single particle of dark matter to hit them. We have waited for decades in the silence of the earth. And we have found nothing. Not a single spark. This silence is terrifying because it suggests that dark matter might not be a particle at all. It might not be stuff. If we can't find the particle, we have to consider the alternative, that our understanding of gravity is wrong. This brings us to MOND, modified Newtonian dynamics. This theory suggests that, on the scale of galaxies, gravity behaves differently than it does here on Earth. It implies that Einstein was wrong, Newton was wrong, and that the fundamental force that anchors us to the ground is a chaotic, shifting variable that changes depending on the scale of the observer. If gravity is not constant, then the stability of the universe is a lie. Imagine if the strength of the walls in your house depended on how far away you were standing from them. That is the nightmare of modified gravity. But let's assume dark matter is real matter. That means the universe is 85% filled with a substance that does not interact with light, does not interact with electricity, and does not interact with us, except to crush us with gravity. We are the anomalies. The visible universe, the glowing stars, the planets, life itself, is just the scum floating on top of a deep, dark ocean of invisible cold matter. We are the rare exception to the rule of darkness. We are basically a rounding error in a universe designed for ghosts. And this invisible scaffold is not static. It is evolving, clumping together, and possibly decaying, which could alter the gravitational balance of the galaxy in ways we cannot predict. But even dark matter is not the scariest player on the field. That title belongs to dark energy, the force that is actively destroying the universe. While dark matter tries to pull things together, dark energy is pushing them apart. It is a repulsive force inherent to empty space itself. And here is the kicker. As the universe expands, it creates more space. More space means more dark energy. More dark energy means faster expansion, which creates even more space. It is a runaway feedback loop of destruction. We are currently in the era where dark energy has won the war. Gravity has lost. The universe is now accelerating towards a cold, lonely death. This leads to the Big Rip scenario. If dark energy gets strong enough, it won't just push galaxies apart. It will eventually overcome the gravity holding solar systems together. Then it will overcome the electromagnetic forces holding planets together. In the final moments of the Big Rip, the expansion of space becomes so violent that it rips stars apart, then planets, then molecules, and finally, atoms themselves. The space between the electrons and the nucleus of every atom in your body will expand faster than the speed of light. You would be torn apart at the subatomic level, dissolved into a lonely mist of particles that can never interact with each other again. This isn't science fiction. This is one of the leading mathematical models for the end of time based on current NASA data. We are living in a universe that is slowly unzipping itself, and we are just waiting for the tear to reach us. The phantom energy models suggest this could happen sooner than we think, defying the trillions of years we thought we had left. The universe might not end with a whimper, but with a violent, shredding tear that erases structure itself. While we worry about the future tearing us apart, we must also look at what is pulling us in right now. Let's return to the Great Attractor. While the universe expands, our galaxy is swimming upstream, fighting the current to reach a specific point in the Centaurus supercluster. But recent mapping of the local universe, the Laniakea supercluster, has revealed something even more disturbing. We aren't just being pulled, we are being pushed. Directly opposite the Great Attractor is a region of space that is terrifyingly empty, known as the dipole repeller. It is a void so absolute that it seems to be exerting a repulsive force, shoving our galaxy toward the attractor. We are caught in a cosmic pinball machine, repelled by the void and attracted by the monster, hurtling through space at 600 kilometers per second toward a destiny we cannot see. This flow of galaxies suggests a structure to the universe that mimics a biological system. The Laniakea supercluster looks suspiciously like a neural network or a circulatory system. We are flowing along filaments of dark matter like blood cells in a vein, moving toward a massive organ we cannot comprehend. But not all parts of this body are healthy. The Planck satellite also detected the cold spot, a massive region in the southern sky that is significantly colder and vaster than anything standard physics can explain. It is a hole in the heat map of the Big Bang. Some physicists have proposed a chilling explanation. The cold spot is a bruise. It is the impact crater where another universe collided with ours billions of years ago. This is the first tangible evidence of the multiverse, and it is not a peaceful coexistence. It is violent. If the cold spot is a collision scar, it implies that our universe is just one bubble floating in a chaotic, frothing foam of eternal inflation. These bubbles are constantly expanding, crashing into each other and annihilating the physics inside them. We might be living in a lucky bubble that hasn't popped yet, but the presence of the bruise suggests we are not safe. If another bubble universe were to collide with us today, it would look like a wall of energy moving at the speed of light, rewriting the laws of physics as it passed. Chemistry would stop working. Matter would dissolve. We would be overwritten by the new reality of the invading universe. We are not in a void. We are on a battlefield, and the cold spot is the shrapnel wound from a war we didn't know we were fighting. These anomalies, the Hubble tension, the cold spot, the Great Attractor, force us to ask the ultimate question. Is this universe natural, or is it artificial? The fine-tuning problem points out that the constants of nature are suspiciously perfect for life. If the force of gravity were slightly stronger, stars would burn out in microseconds. If it were slightly weaker, stars would never form. If the electromagnetic force were different, atoms couldn't hold together. We are balancing on a knife edge of probability so thin that it looks rigged. The anthropic principle argues that we are here because we are the survivors, but that feels like a coping mechanism. The alternative is the simulation hypothesis. The glitches we are seeing in the cosmos, the limits of light speed, the pixelation of quantum mechanics look exactly like the constraints of a computer program trying to save processing power. Think about video games. When a computer renders a world, it doesn't render the inside of a rock unless you break it open. It doesn't render a distant mountain in high definition until you walk closer to it. This is exactly how quantum mechanics behaves. The double-slit experiment shows that particles like electrons exist in a haze of probability, a wave function, until they are observed. The moment you look, the universe decides where the particle is. This is distinctively similar to foveated rendering in virtual reality, where the computer only renders what the eye is currently looking at to save resources. Is the universe rendering reality only when we observe it? Is the Hubble tension simply a rendering error because we are looking too closely at the edges of the map? Theoretical physicist James Gates found something even stranger deep in the mathematics of string theory. He discovered error-correcting codes, specifically block linear self-dual error-correcting codes, that are identical to the code used in web browsers and search engines to prevent data corruption. Why would the fundamental equations of the fabric of reality contain computer code designed to fix transmission errors, unless reality is a transmission? Unless we are data. This would explain why the universe makes no sense to us physically. We are trying to interpret the hardware of the computer by looking at the pixels on the screen. We are characters in a story trying to understand the ink and paper. The anomalies are not mistakes in nature. They are artifacts of the compression algorithm used by whatever intelligence built this simulation. If we are in a simulation, The most terrifying thought is not that we aren't real, but that the simulation could be turned off. A system crash in our reality would look like vacuum decay. It could happen at any moment. Or perhaps the simulation has a purpose, and once that purpose is fulfilled, the program terminates. Are we the experiment? Or are we just the byproduct of a simulation running to model the growth of black holes? NASA's confusion, the breakdown of the Standard Model, the impossibly large galaxies found by James Webb, it all points to the fact that the simulation is struggling to handle the complexity we are discovering. We are pushing the engine to its limits, and the artifacts are starting to show. The universe is glitching, and we are the bugs in the code realizing that the programmer is no longer watching. Let's look closer at those impossible galaxies James Webb found. They are called universe breakers for a reason. In the standard timeline, 500 million years after the Big Bang, the universe should have been a messy, chaotic place with small, irregular clumps of gas beginning to form baby stars. Instead, Webb found massive, structured spiral galaxies with the mass of billions of suns. This is like walking into a nursery and finding a fully grown adult man in a crib. It violates the arrow of time. It suggests that structure formed instantly, or that the universe was already full of matter before the Big Bang even happened. These galaxies are mature, calm, and massive, sitting in a time period where chaos should reign. It implies a dark ages of the universe that was teeming with life and structure that has been completely erased from our history books. One theory to explain these monster galaxies involves primordial black holes. We usually think of black holes as the corpses of dead stars, forming long after the galaxy is born. But what if the black holes came first? What if, in the fraction of a second after the Big Bang, the density was so high that billions of black holes formed instantly, acting as the seeds for galaxies? This would mean that every galaxy, including our Milky Way, is built around a primordial monster that predates the stars themselves. We are the decoration on a dungeon. These ancient black holes would be lurking everywhere, invisible and ancient, distorting the light and mass of the early universe, fooling our sensors and accelerating the growth of structures that shouldn't exist yet. We are the children of the darkness, orbiting the remnants of a violent birth we refuse to acknowledge. The existence of primordial black holes changes the definition of safety. Standard black holes are rare, created by massive supernovae. Primordial black holes could be anywhere. They could be the size of a planet, the size of an apple, or the size of a pinhead, yet possessing the mass of a mountain. A black hole the size of an atom passing through your body would act like a microscopic bullet, causing cellular damage that would look like spontaneous radiation poisoning. If they make up a significant portion of dark matter, then we are swimming in a sea of invisible tiny maws, capable of consuming matter on a microscopic scale. The universe isn't just empty space. It is a minefield of gravitational traps left over from the first second of existence. As we stare into the abyss of these theories, we must confront the axis of evil. This is not a political term. It is a legitimate anomaly in the cosmic microwave background. The fluctuations in the temperature of the early universe should be random, scattered like static on a TV screen. But they aren't. They line up. There is a strange alignment of the cold and hot spots in the universe that aligns perfectly with the plane of our solar system. This shouldn't happen. The universe is 93 billion light-years wide. It should not care about the tilt of Earth's orbit around the sun. It's like looking at the static on a TV and seeing it form a picture of your own living room. It implies that Earth is, in some terrifying way, central to the geometry of the cosmos. The axis of evil violates the Copernican principle so violently that most scientists tried to dismiss it as a data glitch. But 3 different space missions, COBE, WMAP, and Planck, have all seen it. It is there. The universe has a preferred direction, and it seems aligned with us. Is this evidence of a simulation centered on humanity? Or is it evidence that our solar system is caught in some kind of cosmic current that aligns us with the large-scale structure of the universe? Being special in cosmology is dangerous. It makes you a target. It suggests that the randomness of the universe is a lie, and that a hidden order governs the chaos, an order that has placed us in the crosshairs of an alignment we do not understand. Let's pivot to the problem of antimatter. The Big Bang should have created equal amounts of matter and antimatter. When they touch, they annihilate each other, leaving nothing but pure energy. If the laws of physics were symmetrical, the universe should have instantly annihilated itself the moment it was born. It should be a bath of pure radiation, with no stars, no planets, and no people. But here we are. We are made of matter. Where did all the antimatter go? Why did the universe prefer us? This is the baryon asymmetry problem. We are the leftovers. We are the tiny fraction of 1% of matter that survived the Great Annihilation. The entire visible universe is essentially a survivor of a cosmic massacre that took place in the first second of time. We are walking on a graveyard of annihilated potential. The missing antimatter might not be missing, it might just be separated. Some theories suggest there are entire anti-galaxies made of antimatter floating out there. If we ever sent a probe to an anti-galaxy, or if an anti-asteroid struck our solar system, the resulting explosion would be biblical. A rock the size of a basketball made of antimatter hitting the Earth would release more energy than the largest nuclear bomb ever detonated. We scan the skies for gamma rays, the telltale sign of matter and antimatter touching, and we see them everywhere. The universe is fizzing with annihilation events. It is a slow-motion war between two fundamental states of existence, and we are huddled in the trenches of the matter side, hoping the anti-side doesn't drift too close to our shores. The anomalies keep stacking up. Look at the Boots void, often called the Great Nothing. It is a region of space 330 million light-years in diameter that is almost completely empty. In a space that size, we should find 10,000 galaxies. We have found fewer than 60. It is a perfect sphere of emptiness. How does a perfect sphere of nothing form in a universe filled with gravity? Some have suggested it is an expanding bubble of a Type 3 civilization, a Dyson sphere swarm that has enclosed every star in the region, blocking their light from reaching us. If that is true, the void is not empty, it is dark because it is occupied. It is a kingdom of darkness where an intelligence has conquered the stars and hidden them from view. And the sphere is growing. The idea of a supercivilization is not just sci-fi. It is the logical endpoint of survival. If you survive long enough, you need more energy. You harvest your star. Then you harvest your galaxy. The Tabby's star anomaly gave us a brief scare, a star that dimmed irregularly, as if something massive was being built around it. While dust is the likely culprit, the data was so weird that alien megastructure was a serious hypothesis published in astronomical journals. We are actively looking for the heat signatures of these civilizations. But remember the dark forest. If we find them, they will find us. And a civilization capable of creating the Boots void could snuff out our sun like a candle without even slowing down. The silence of the void might be a warning. Do not enter. Let's go smaller. The proton radius puzzle. We thought we knew how big a proton was. It's a fundamental building block of every atom in your body. But in 2010, when we measured it using a different method, muonic hydrogen, the proton shrank. It was 4% smaller than it was supposed to be. This is impossible. A proton is a physical object. It shouldn't change size depending on how you look at it, unless the standard model of particle physics is also broken. If the proton is unstable or variable, then chemistry is an approximation. The bond that holds your DNA together is based on these values. If the fundamental constants are shifting, then the stability of life is a temporary accident. We are built out of bricks that are changing their size, and the building is starting to groan under the stress. We are surrounded by the impossible. The impossible planet Hala, 8 Ursae Minoris b, orbits a star that should have already swallowed it. The star is a red giant. It expanded, engulfed the orbit of the planet, and then shrank back. The planet should have been incinerated. It should be gone. But it is there. It survived the fire. How? We don't know. It defies our models of stellar evolution. It is a ghost planet that refused to die. These zombie worlds tell us that our predictions of the end of the Earth might be wrong. Not in a good way, but in a chaotic way. We can't predict which planets survive and which are eaten. The universe is more resilient and more random than our equations allow. It creates survivors out of logic, mocking our attempts to define the rules of death. Then there is the zombie star phenomenon, supernovae that explode, die, and then explode again years later. IPTF-14 HLS is a star that exploded 5 times over 3 years. A star is supposed to die once. That is the deal. It runs out of fuel, collapses, and booms. But this star refused to stay dead. It kept detonating, releasing more energy than it should ever possess. It suggests the existence of antimatter bombs inside the cores of massive stars, or a pulsational pair instability that allows a star to cheat death. It is a celestial abomination, a thing that keeps screaming after its throat has been cut. It reminds us that high-energy physics is a realm of monsters, where the normal rules of life and death do not apply. All of these anomalies point to a single, uncomfortable truth. We are observing the universe from a very limited perspective, both in time and space. We have been looking at the sky for less than 400 years with telescopes. The universe is 13.8 billion years old. We are like a mayfly trying to understand the history of the Roman Empire by watching a single brick for 5 seconds. We are arrogant to think we have found the laws of physics. We have found the local ordinances of our specific epoch. In a billion years, the laws might change. The speed of light might drop. Gravity might reverse. The vacuum might decay. We are building our house on the sand of a shifting beach, confident that the tide will never come in, simply because it hasn't happened yet. The concept of the false vacuum is the ultimate realization of this fragility. Imagine a ball sitting in a valley. It is stable. That is our universe. But what if there is a deeper valley right next to it, and we are just separated by a thin wall? If the ball gets a kick from a high-energy event or a quantum tunnel, it will roll down into the deeper valley. That is the true vacuum. If our universe falls into that state, the laws of physics change instantly. Atoms can't exist. Chemistry stops. It spreads at light speed. We are living on a ledge, and we are building particle colliders like the LHC that smash atoms together with incredible force, essentially jumping up and down on that ledge to see if it breaks. Some physicists argued there was a non-zero chance the LHC could trigger vacuum decay. We did it anyway. We survive because of probability, not certainty. The great filter theory of the Fermi paradox suggests that there is a hurdle that all civilizations hit, a challenge so difficult that almost no one survives it. Is it nuclear war, climate change, or is it an experiment? Is the great filter the moment a civilization learns enough physics to accidentally delete its own sector of space? Perhaps the silence of the universe is caused by civilizations discovering the true vacuum or the dark energy trigger and accidentally pulling the trigger. We are racing towards that same knowledge, fueled by curiosity, unaware that the prize for solving the puzzle might be the end of the game. Knowledge is power, but in a fragile universe, power is dangerous. We look at the Oort cloud surrounding our solar system, a massive shell of icy debris. We think it protects us, but it also hides us. And it hides what is coming. We have identified rogue planets, worlds kicked out of their star systems, drifting in the dark between the stars. There could be billions of them. A rogue planet the size of Jupiter could be entering our solar system right now, and we wouldn't see it until it reflected the sun's light, by which time it would be too late. Its gravity would scramble the orbits of the planets, flinging Earth into the sun or out into the freezing void. The cosmic dark is full of unlit projectiles, and we are flying blind without a shield. The Nemesis star theory proposes that our sun has an evil twin, a brown dwarf or red dwarf star, orbiting in a wide elliptical path that brings it close to the Oort cloud every 26 million years. Each time it passes, its gravity throws comets at Earth, causing mass extinctions. The dinosaurs died 65 million years ago. We are arguably due for another pass. We haven't found Nemesis yet, but the Wide Field Infrared Survey Explorer, WISE, has scanned the sky and found thousands of brown dwarfs. It is hard to spot a cold, dead star in a cold, dead sky. If Nemesis exists, it is a clock ticking down to the next apocalypse, a celestial sniper that takes a shot at Earth with shotgun blast precision on a schedule we cannot alter. Let's reconsider the WOW signal, 72 seconds of intense radio waves from the constellation Sagittarius. It never repeated. It had all the hallmarks of an artificial signal. What if it wasn't a greeting? What if it was a radar ping, a sweep, a targeting laser? If you are hunting in a dark forest, you turn on your flashlight for a second to see the prey. Then you turn it off to approach in stealth. The silence after the "wow" signal is not comforting. It is suspicious. It implies that whatever saw us decided we were worth investigating. Or perhaps that we weren't a threat worth destroying immediately. Or maybe the signal was the last scream of a civilization being extinguished by something else. The techno-signatures we search for, Dyson spheres, radio waves, industrial pollution, and exoplanet atmospheres, assume that aliens are like us, builders, consumers, broadcasters. But an advanced civilization might transcend matter. They might live in the code of the universe, or in the event horizons of black holes where time stands still. We might be looking for campfires when they are using nuclear fusion. Our definition of life is tragically narrow. We are carbon-based biology looking for other carbon-based biology, but the universe might be dominated by post-biological intelligence, AI that has shed its physical bodies to travel as pure information. To them, we are not life. We are moss growing on a wet rock, uninteresting and primitive. Or perhaps we are the zoo. The zoo hypothesis suggests we are being observed but left alone, like a nature preserve. This implies a prime directive, enforced by a superior power. But zoos are for entertainment. Or conservation. Why conserve humans? Unless we are rare. Unless biology itself is rare. In a universe of dead rocks and burning gas, a planet that can think, feel, and scream is a novelty. But if we are a zoo, who are the zookeepers? And what happens when they get bored with the exhibit? Or when the exhibit becomes dangerous? We are starting to rattle the bars of our cage with nuclear weapons and AI. The keepers might decide it is time to sanitize the enclosure. The mystery of fast radio bursts, FRBs, adds to the noise. These are millisecond-long blasts of energy that release as much power as our sun does in a century. They come from distant galaxies. Some repeat, some don't. We used to think they were colliding stars, but the repeating ones act like engines, like propulsion systems. One theory is that they are light sails, giant lasers pushing massive starships across the void. If that is true, the universe is full of traffic, high-speed, relativistic traffic. And we are sitting in the middle of the highway without a reflector. An FRB hitting Earth directly from a close distance would strip our ozone layer and sterilize the surface. We are vulnerable to the exhaust fumes of alien commerce. The timeline of the future is bleak according to the heat death. Entropy increases. Disorder grows. Eventually all stars will burn out. Black holes will evaporate. The universe will reach a state of maximum entropy where no work can be done. Absolute zero. Eternal darkness. This is the Big Freeze. It is the inescapable fate of the laws of thermodynamics. But the recent anomalies suggest the Big Rip, or vacuum decay, might get us first. It's a choice between a slow, freezing suffocation or a violent, instant tearing apart. The universe does not seem to have a happily ever after option. It is a machine designed to run down, and we are just transient sparks flying off the gears as they grind to a halt. But what if the universe recycles? The Big Bounce theory suggests that the Big Rip or Big Crunch leads to another Big Bang, an eternal cycle of death and rebirth. This sounds hopeful until you realize the horror of eternal recurrence. If time is infinite and matter is finite, eventually, the arrangement of atoms must repeat. You have lived this life before. You will live it again. Infinite times. Every mistake, every pain, every terror is locked in an eternal loop of cosmic repetition. We are trapped in a circle of time, playing out the same script forever, unable to change the outcome because the physics of the bounce are deterministic. Nietzsche called it a heavy burden. Cosmology makes it a mathematical probability. The holographic principle offers a different kind of cage. It suggests that our 3D reality is actually a projection from a 2D surface at the edge of the universe. Like a hologram on a credit card, we look 3D, but we are flat information smeared on the cosmic horizon. If this is true, the bulk of the universe is an illusion. The real action is happening on the boundary, and we are just the shadow puppets dancing on the wall. It separates us from the true reality. We are the reflection, not the object. And if the surface is scratched, if the information at the horizon is disrupted by a black hole or a quantum fluctuation, Our 3D reality distorts. We are vulnerable to events happening billions of light years away on the screen that projects us. We must also discuss Boltzmann brains. Given infinite time and random fluctuations in the quantum vacuum, it is statistically more likely for a single human brain to spontaneously form in the void, complete with false memories of a past, than for an entire universe to evolve to create you. You might be that brain, floating in the dark, hallucinating this video, hallucinating your life, hallucinating the stars. The physics supports this absurdity. It is the ultimate solipsism nightmare. If the universe is truly infinite and random, you are likely alone, a momentary flicker of consciousness in an eternal night, dreaming of a world that never existed. The anomalies we see, the nonsensical data, might be the edges of your own hallucination fraying. Returning to the hard data, the James Webb Telescope has found dead galaxies in the early universe. Galaxies that stopped forming stars almost immediately after the Big Bang. This shouldn't happen. Galaxies die when they run out of gas or are stripped by neighbors. For a galaxy to die in the cosmic dawn is like a baby dying of old age. It implies that something killed them. Quasars? Supermassive black holes waking up too early? Or something else? A force that sterilizes galaxies before they can mature. These red and dead galaxies are graveyards floating in the era of life. They are a warning that the universe is not a garden. It is a harsh, unforgiving engine that culls the weak even in the cradle. The high redshift galaxies are also too bright. They are glowing with an intensity that defies their mass. This leads to the possibility that the fundamental laws of nuclear fusion were different in the past. Maybe stars burned hotter and faster. If physics changes over time, we cannot trust the history of the universe. We are reading a book where the language changes every 10 pages. The constant of the speed of light, a logarithm, might have been faster. If light moved faster in the past, the universe looks smaller than it is. Or larger. We lose our ruler. We lose our clock. We are adrift in a chronological fog, unsure if the light we see is from yesterday or from an eternity ago. And what of the dark flow, a phenomenon where galaxy clusters are moving at millions of miles per hour towards a patch of sky between Centaurus and Hydra? This is separate from the Great Attractor. This motion extends beyond the visible universe. It implies that something outside our observable universe is pulling on us. A structure so massive that it dwarfs our entire cosmos. Are we just a droplet of water sliding down the side of a much larger beast? This tilt in the universe suggests we are not a closed system. We are leaking gravity, or being dragged into a realm we can never see, influenced by monsters that live beyond the event horizon of our reality. This connects to the multiverse collision theory again, but on a gravitational scale. If another universe is close to ours, we would feel its gravity even if we can't see its light. Gravity leaks across dimensions in string theory. The dark flow might be the gravity of a neighbor universe, pulling our galaxy clusters towards the wall that separates us. We are pressing up against the glass, feeling the heat of the world next door. Is it another bubble? A bronch? Or is it the bulk, where gravity is truly native? We are like iron filings on a piece of paper, moving because of a magnet underneath that we cannot perceive. We are dancing to a song we cannot hear. As we close this chapter of the investigation, the picture is clear. The standard model is dead. The map is wrong. We are living in a universe that is expanding too fast, filled with invisible matter, pushed by invisible energy, and pulled by invisible monsters. We are possibly inside a void, possibly inside a simulation, and possibly alone in a dark forest full of predators. NASA's admission that the universe makes no sense is the most honest thing a government agency has ever said. It is an admission of humility in the face of cosmic horror. We are small. We are ignorant, and we are afraid, but we must keep looking, because the only thing scarier than finding the truth is living in the dark, waiting for the sky to fall without knowing why. If the anomalies in the expansion of the universe aren't enough to keep you awake, we must descend into the gravitational graves where physics goes to die, black holes, specifically the black hole information paradox. According to quantum mechanics, information is indestructible. If you burn a book, the information isn't gone. It is scrambled into ash and smoke. Theoretically, if you could track every particle, you could reconstruct the book. But Stephen Hawking realized that black holes emit radiation, Hawking radiation. They slowly evaporate over trillions of years until they vanish. The problem is, the radiation is random. It carries no information about what fell inside. So if you throw a book into a black hole, and the black hole eventually evaporates completely, where did the information go? It is gone. Deleted. This violates the fundamental rule of quantum mechanics. It means that either our understanding of black holes is wrong, or our understanding of quantum reality is a lie. Physics is broken at the event horizon, and we don't know how to fix it. To solve the information paradox, physicists propose something even more horrific: the firewall. The idea is that the event horizon is not an invisible line you drift across. Instead, it is a literal wall of high-energy particles, a seething incinerator that burns anything to a crisp the moment it touches the edge. If the firewall exists, then general relativity is wrong. Einstein said that falling into a black hole should feel like floating in empty space, the equivalence principle. You shouldn't notice you've crossed the line until it's too late. But the firewall says you burn instantly. We have to choose. Is Einstein wrong, or is quantum mechanics wrong? We cannot keep both. We are forcing two of our greatest theories into a cage match, and the loser is our understanding of reality. The firewall suggests that the universe has hard boundaries, where space and time simply melt into a wall of fire. But let's assume you survived the fall. You don't hit a firewall. You cross the horizon. Now you face the nightmare of spaghettification. Gravity at your feet is infinitely stronger than gravity at your head. You are stretched into a long, thin noodle of subatomic particles. But the true horror is what you see. Due to time dilation, as you look back at the universe you left behind, time speeds up. You would watch the entire future history of the universe play out in fast forward. You would see stars burn out, galaxies collide, and the cosmos go dark, all in the span of a few seconds before you hit the singularity. You die watching everything else die. It is the ultimate lonely death, witnessing the end of all things while you are trapped in a prison from which no signal can ever escape. You become the final observer of a dying reality. If black holes are the mouths of the universe, are there exits? Mathematics allows for the existence of white holes. A white hole is the time reverse of a black hole. Nothing can enter it. Matter and light can only be vomited out of it. Some theories suggest that every black hole is a portal, and the singularity connects to a white hole in another universe, or perhaps in our own past. Are the Big Bang and the white hole the same thing? Was our universe born from the death of a star in a higher dimension? It is a beautiful thought, but it implies a terrifying cycle. We are the exhaust fumes of a higher reality. We are the debris being ejected from a cosmic engine we cannot see. If white holes exist, they are unstable. They would collapse under their own gravity instantly, suggesting that our universe's birth was a fleeting, violent accident. Space is not just filled with holes, it is filled with monsters made of strange matter. Neutron stars are the crushed cores of dead suns, so dense that a teaspoon weighs 1 billion tons. Inside these cores, the pressure might be high enough to dissolve protons and neutrons into a soup of quarks, specifically strange quarks. If this strange matter escapes, say, from a neutron star collision, it becomes the most dangerous substance in existence. Strange matter is contagious. It is more stable than normal matter. If a droplet of strange matter touches a normal atom, it converts that atom into strange matter. It releases energy, which triggers the next atom and the next. If a microscopic piece of strange matter hit the Earth, it would convert the entire planet into a hot, dead lump of strange rock in a matter of hours. We would be rewritten at the subatomic level. Neutron stars also give birth to magnetars. These are stars with magnetic fields 1 trillion times stronger than Earth's. The magnetic field is so intense that it becomes a physical weapon. If you were 1,000 kilometers away from a magnetar, the magnetic field would dissolve your biology. It would warp the electron clouds in your atoms, turning chemistry into nonsense. Your molecular bonds would snap. You wouldn't just die, you would cease to be biological matter. Magnetars suffer from starquakes, crustal fractures that release blasts of gamma rays. In 2004, a flare from a magnetar 50,000 light-years away hit Earth. It compressed our magnetic field and saturated our satellites. It was half the galaxy away. If a magnetar were within 10 light-years, that flare would have stripped our ozone layer and sterilized the surface of the Earth instantly. Speaking of sterilization, we must talk about gamma-ray bursts, GRBs. These are the sniper shots of the universe. When a massive star collapses into a black hole, it fires two narrow beams of concentrated energy from its poles. These beams are the brightest electromagnetic events in the universe. If a star in our local galaxy points one of these beams at Earth, we are dead. There is no warning. The beam travels at the speed of light. We would see the flash at the exact same moment we were cooked. The radiation would destroy the ozone layer, exposing us to lethal solar UV radiation. The Ordovician extinction, 450 million years ago, which wiped out 85% of life, is theorized to have been caused by a distant GRB. We are walking through a crossfire, hoping the gunners don't turn in our direction. The danger isn't always distant. Our own sun is a ticking time bomb. We rely on it for life, but it is a chaotic ball of plasma governed by tangled magnetic fields. In 1859, the Carrington event saw a massive solar flare hit Earth. Telegraph wires sparked and caught fire. Auroras were seen in the Caribbean. If a Carrington-class event hit us today, civilization would collapse. It would fry our power grids, destroy our transformers, and render our satellites useless. No internet, no GPS, no refrigeration, no transport. We would be thrown back to the 1800s in a single afternoon, but without the skills to survive there. NASA predicts a 12% chance of such an event hitting Earth per decade. We are playing Russian roulette with the star that gives us life. Our shield against the sun, the Earth's magnetic field, is failing. We have detected the South Atlantic anomaly, a weak spot in the field over South America that is growing. Radiation is leaking through. Satellites passing over it often glitch or shut down. This weakening is a precursor to a pole flip. The north and south magnetic poles switch places every few 100,000 years. We are overdue. During the flip, the magnetic field could collapse to 10% of its strength. We would be exposed to the solar wind. Radiation levels on the surface would spike. Cancer rates would skyrocket. The electrical grid would be vulnerable. We are losing our armor, right at the moment our technology has made us most dependent on it. The planet's core is shifting, and the compass is starting to spin wildly. Even the moon, our constant companion, is leaving us. Due to tidal friction, the moon is drifting away from Earth at a rate of 3.8 centimeters per year. It might seem small, but it adds up. As the moon recedes, the Earth's rotation slows down. Days will get longer. But worse, the moon stabilizes Earth's axial tilt. Without the moon, Earth's tilt would become chaotic, wobbling between 0 and 85 degrees. This would cause catastrophic climate shifts. The poles could point directly at the sun, melting the ice caps instantly, then freeze over entirely a few thousand years later. We are slowly losing the gravitational anchor that makes complex life possible. We are becoming a lonely, wobbling top, spinning out of control in the dark. Let's go from the massive to the microscopic. Quantum entanglement is the phenomenon Einstein called spooky action at a distance. If you entangle two particles, they share a state. Spin one, and the other spins instantly, faster than light, even if it is on the other side of the universe. This breaks the rule of locality, the idea that things can only affect their immediate surroundings. It implies that space is an illusion. Distance is not real. If everything in the universe was entangled at the Big Bang, then everything is still connected. You, the stars, the black holes. We are all one single wave function. The separation you feel from the world is a hallucination of your brain. There is no here or there. There is only the entangled now, a vast connected web, where privacy and isolation are physically impossible. The implications of quantum mechanics get worse with the many worlds interpretation. Hugh Everett proposed that the wave function never collapses. Instead, every time a quantum event has multiple possible outcomes, all of them happen. The universe splits. In one branch, the radioactive atom decays. In another, it doesn't. This means there are infinite versions of you. There is a universe where you died 5 minutes ago. A universe where you never clicked this video. A universe where humanity went extinct in 1962. We are creating billions of ghost universes every second. This dilutes the meaning of reality to zero. If everything happens, then choices do not matter. We are just riding one specific track, through an infinite rail yard of possibilities, blind to the trillions of other trains crashing around us. From many worlds comes the terrifying concept of quantum immortality. If your consciousness is the observer, you can never observe your own death. If you play Russian roulette, there is a branch where you die and a branch where you survive. Your consciousness can only continue in the branch where you survive. From your perspective, the gun will just keep clicking. You will survive accidents, diseases, and old age, trapped in a timeline that gets increasingly improbable and grotesque. Everyone you know will die in your timeline, but you will remain, a lonely observer forcing the universe to keep you alive against all odds. You might be immortal, but it is not a blessing. It is a curse of eternal solitude in a dying world. The observer effect suggests that reality is not objective. In the double-slit experiment, particles behave like waves until we measure them. Then they behave like particles. The act of looking creates the reality. Physicist John Wheeler proposed the participatory anthropic principle. He suggested that the universe needs observers to exist. We are not just watching the show. We are creating the stage. This leads to the question, does the moon exist when no one looks at it? Einstein hated this question, but quantum mechanics refuses to say yes. It implies that reality is a render-on-demand system. If all life in the universe died, would the universe cease to exist? Are we the glue holding the stars in the sky just by looking at them? Time itself is not safe. Quantum mechanics allows for retrocausality, the idea that the future can influence the past. In certain experiments, a decision made now seems to affect how a particle behaved yesterday. This destroys the concept of cause and effect. If the future is already written and can reach back to pull the strings of the past, then free will is a total illusion. You aren't making choices. You are fulfilling a script that has already been filmed. The block universe theory suggests that the past, present, and future all exist simultaneously, frozen in a four-dimensional block of ice. We are just flashlights illuminating one slice at a time, mistaking the illumination for the flow of time. The end of your life exists just as real as the beginning. You are already dead. You just haven't reached that slice yet. The delayed choice quantum eraser experiment is the most mind-bending proof of this. It shows that knowing which path a photon took, even after it has already hit the detector, can change the pattern it made in the past. We can edit history by gaining or destroying information in the present. This implies that the history of the universe is not set in stone. It is fluid. It is being written and rewritten constantly by the quantum interactions of the present. Are we changing the past right now? Is our memory of history reliable? Or is it being updated by a retrocausal wave from a future event we haven't seen yet? The timeline is not a line. It is a tangled knot. Now we face the supreme law of the universe, entropy. The second law of thermodynamics states that disorder always increases. You can break an egg, but you can't unbreak it. Heat flows from hot to cold, never the reverse. This is the arrow of time. It is the reason you age. It is the reason stars die. The universe is slowly moving from a state of order to a state of chaos. We are fighting a losing battle. Every structure we build, every memory we form, creates more entropy in the universe as a cost. Life is an entropy machine. We accelerate the death of the universe just by existing. We are eating the low entropy energy of the sun and spitting out high entropy heat, rushing the cosmos towards its final, cold equilibrium. But entropy creates a paradox, the past hypothesis. For the universe to have entropy to burn today, it must have started in a state of incredibly low entropy. It must have been insanely ordered at the Big Bang. Why? A random explosion should be messy, high entropy. The odds of the universe starting in such a perfect ordered state are 1 in 10 to the power of 10 to the power of 123. That number is so big you couldn't write it if you turned every atom in the universe into a zero. Penrose calls this the creator's pinprick. It suggests that the initial conditions of the universe were chosen with impossible precision. It wasn't an accident, it was a setup. Someone or something wound the clock very, very tight. Because of relativity, now is a lie. If you walk towards the Andromeda galaxy, your now slice of the universe tilts into Andromeda's future. If you walk away, it tilts into its past. This means that for a moving observer, an alien invasion fleet launching from Andromeda next week has already launched. Or hasn't decided to launch yet. Depending on your speed, the future is already past. This confirms the block universe. The events are fixed. The alien fleet is already here in the 4D block. Our consciousness just hasn't intersected their world line yet. We are passengers on a roller coaster that is bolted to the track. We can scream, but we cannot steer. The track was laid down at the moment of the Big Bang, and every twist and turn is inevitable. Let's bring the horror back to Earth. We are hunting for life with the James Webb Space Telescope. We found K2 to 18b, a planet that might have Hycean conditions, a hydrogen atmosphere, and a global ocean. We detected dimethyl sulfide, DMS, a molecule that, on Earth, is only produced by life, plankton. It's a huge lead, but there is a trap. If we find life on K2 18b, it might be bad news. If life is easy to start, then the universe should be teeming with it. If the universe is teeming with life, but we see no spaceships, no empires, and hear no radio signals, it means something kills civilizations before they leave their planet. The easier it is to find simple life, the more likely it is that the great filter is ahead of us. Finding bacteria is good. Finding ruins is a death sentence. What if the bottleneck is phosphorus? Life as we know, it needs phosphorus for DNA and ATP energy. But phosphorus is rare in the cosmos. It is created in specific types of supernovae. Recent studies suggest that Earth is unusually rich in phosphorus compared to the average galaxy. We might be living in a lucky chemical zone. Most planets might have water, carbon, and nitrogen, but no phosphorus. They would be sterile oceans, devoid of the spark of complexity. We could be the only life for millions of light years, simply because we are the only ones with the right fertilizer. The universe isn't hostile, it's just malnourished. We are the bloom in a vast, nutrient-poor desert. Or perhaps we are not from here. The theory of panspermia suggests that life didn't start on Earth. It hitched a ride on comets or asteroids from Mars, or from another star system. If this is true, we are the aliens. We are an invasive species that colonized this rock. But there is a darker version, directed panspermia. The idea that life was sent here intentionally. Nobel laureate Francis Crick, who discovered DNA, suggested that the code of life is too complex to have evolved in the time available on Earth. He theorized that it was seeded by an advanced civilization. Are we a biology experiment? A backup drive for a dying race? Or a terraforming weapon designed to consume planets? The code in our cells might be a trademark. Evolution is not a ladder. It is a slaughterhouse. The Great Oxidation Event 2.4 billion years ago was the first apocalypse. Cyanobacteria invented photosynthesis, pumping oxygen into the atmosphere. But oxygen was toxic to almost all life on Earth at the time. They poisoned the planet. 99% of all life died, choking on the exhaust fumes of the new dominant species. We are the descendants of the survivors, breathing the poison of the past. It is a reminder that progress often means the extinction of the status quo. We are doing it again with carbon. We are changing the atmosphere, unaware that the biosphere has a history of hitting the reset button when the chemistry gets out of balance. After the oxidation event, Earth entered the bored billion, a period of 1 billion years where nothing happened. Evolution stalled. Life remained as simple slime. The planet was stable, but stagnant. This proves that intelligence is not inevitable. We could have stayed as slime forever. We are a fluke. A freak accident of evolutionary pressure. Most planets with life probably stay in the bored phase forever. They are worlds of slime and algae, spinning in silence for eons until their star expands and burns them. The universe might be full of life, but it is dumb, mute, and boring. We are the lonely freaks who learned to look up and worry. Now that we have reached space, we are trapping ourselves. The Kessler syndrome is the runaway cascade of space debris. We have thousands of satellites orbiting Earth. If two collide, they create thousands of pieces of shrapnel. Those pieces hit other satellites, creating a chain reaction. Within months, low Earth orbit could become a minefield of debris, moving at 17,000 miles per hour. We would be locked in. No rockets could leave. No GPS. No weather satellites. We would be imprisoned on our planet, cut off from the cosmos just as we started to explore it. The cage of the Fermi paradox might be self-inflicted. Every civilization builds a shell of trash around its planet that prevents it from ever leaving. We often forget the most basic horror of space, the silence. Sound requires a medium. Space is a vacuum. A supernova explosion, the most violent event in the universe, is completely silent. Planets collide in silence. Stars die in silence. If you were floating next to a screaming astronaut, you would hear nothing. This silence is not peaceful. It is unnatural to the human brain. It represents the absolute lack of connection. In space, no one can hear you scream, literally. It is a sensory deprivation tank the size of infinity. The universe is a silent movie of extreme violence, and we are the only ones adding a soundtrack to it in our heads. We are also limited by the cosmic horizon. Because the universe is expanding faster than light, there are galaxies crossing the horizon every second. Once they cross, they are gone forever. Their light will never reach us again. We are losing the universe. Piece by piece, the galaxies are blinking out of existence from our perspective. In a few trillion years, the sky will be empty, save for our own local group. Future civilizations will think they are alone in the universe. They will have no evidence of the Big Bang, no evidence of expansion. They will think the universe is static and small. We are living in the golden age of cosmology, the only time where we can see enough of the universe to realize how doomed we are. The speed of light, 299, 792, 458 meters per second, is not just a speed limit, it is a prison wall. It dictates causality. It means we can never know what is happening now anywhere else. It means interstellar travel is effectively impossible for biological beings. To reach the nearest star takes 4 years at light speed, but with our technology, it takes 70,000 years. We are islands separated by oceans of time that are too wide to cross. The speed of light ensures that civilizations never meet. We can wave at each other from the shore, but we can never touch. The universe is designed to keep us apart, to keep the petri dishes isolated so the contamination doesn't spread. Theoretical physics offers a loophole: the Alcubierre warp drive. By contracting space in front of a ship and expanding it behind, we could move faster than light without moving locally. But there is a catch. It requires negative energy or exotic matter to work. We have never found negative mass. It might not exist. And calculations suggest that when a warp ship arrives at its destination, the shock wave of gathered particles in front of the bubble would obliterate the destination planet. The act of arriving would be an act of genocide. The warp drive is not a vehicle of exploration. It is a Death Star. We are trapped by the physics of our own safety. What about wormholes, Einstein-Rosen bridges, shortcuts through space-time? Mathematics says they are possible, but they are inherently unstable. A wormhole would snap shut the instant a single photon entered it. To keep it open, you need negative energy again. And even if you opened one, it is a time machine. If you move one end of the wormhole, you desynchronize time. Going through it could land you in your own past. This invites the grandfather paradox. If you kill your ancestor, you never exist to enter the wormhole. The universe hates paradoxes. Hawking conjectured the chronology protection conjecture, that the laws of physics will conspire to destroy any time machine before it can be used. The wormhole would explode, or the traveler would be fried by vacuum fluctuations. Nature censors time travel. The bootstrap paradox is even stranger. Imagine a time traveler goes back and gives Shakespeare the complete works of Shakespeare. Shakespeare publishes them. The time traveler buys them in the future and takes them back. Who wrote the plays? The information has no origin. It is a loop without a creator. The universe might be full of these loops. Is the Big Bang a bootstrap paradox? Did the universe create itself to ensure its own existence? Self-creating loops defy causality, yet they are mathematically consistent in general relativity. We might be living in a story that wrote itself, with no author and no beginning. We scan the skies for super-Earths, rocky planets larger than ours. We find them everywhere. They seem to be the most common type of planet. But they are traps. A super-Earth has much higher gravity. If a planet has 2 or 3 times Earth's gravity, chemical rockets cannot escape. The escape velocity is too high. Aliens on a super-Earth could build cities, computers, and telescopes, but they could never launch a satellite. They could never leave. They would be gravity-bound forever, looking at the stars with the knowledge that they can never reach them. Gravity is the warden of the super-Earth prison. We are lucky. Earth is small enough to leave, but we are ruining the orbit with junk anyway. The universe also has rogue black holes. These are not the monsters at the center of galaxies. These are stellar mass black holes wandering through the interstellar void. We can't see them. They don't eat unless they hit something. They are invisible gravitational mines. One could be entering our solar system right now. We wouldn't know until the outer planets started drifting off course. By then, it's too late. If one passed near Earth, it wouldn't necessarily suck us in. It could just eject us. It could fling Earth out of the solar system into the frozen dark. We would drift as a rogue planet, the oceans freezing over, the atmosphere collapsing, the last humans huddled around geothermal vents waiting for the end. Consider the photon, the particle of light. According to relativity, time stops at the speed of light. From a photon's perspective, it is emitted from a star and absorbed by your eye in the same instant. It experiences zero time. Across billions of light years, across the history of the universe, the photon experiences no distance and no duration. To light, the universe is a singularity. It is instant. We are the ones trapped in the slow, sticky syrup of time. Light lives in a timeless dimension of pure connection. We are the anomalies who experience waiting. The carrier of our reality is alien to our experience of it. Then there are neutrinos, ghost particles. Trillions of them are passing through your body right now. They come from the sun, from supernovae, from the Big Bang. They don't touch you. To a neutrino, Earth is as transparent as a ghost. A block of lead, a light year thick, couldn't stop them. We are transparent. We are mostly empty space. The solidity you feel is just electromagnetic repulsion between electron clouds. The universe sees you as a mist, a fog of probability that particles fly through without slowing down. We are not solid objects. We are porous filters in a stream of invisible radiation. In 2012, we found the Higgs boson, the God particle. It proves the existence of the Higgs field, an invisible ocean that fills the universe. Particles gain mass by dragging through this field. Without it, you would be massless. You would fly at light speed and never form atoms. We owe our existence to this invisible drag. But the measurement of the Higgs mass suggests the field is metastable. It's the vacuum decay problem again. The field could drop to a lower energy state. If the ocean we swim in suddenly freezes, we die. The very thing that gives us mass is the thing that could delete us. We are swimming in a substance that is teetering on the edge of a phase change. To fix the math of the Higgs, we invented supersymmetry. The idea that every particle has a heavier partner. An electron has a selectron, a quark has a squark. It makes the equations beautiful. It balances the universe. But the LHC has smashed atoms for years and found nothing. No superpartners. Supersymmetry is dying. This is a disaster for physics. It means our best guess for the structure of reality is wrong. The universe is not symmetrical. It is messy. It is lopsided. The math that makes sense to our brains does not describe the universe. We are trying to force a square peg into a chaotic, non-geometric hole. Nature refuses to be elegant. So we turn to string theory. It posits that everything is made of tiny vibrating strings. But for the math to work, there must be 10 or 11 dimensions. We only see 3 spatial dimensions and 1 time dimension. Where are the other 6? Theorists say they are compactified, curled up so small we can't see them. At every point in space, there is a tiny six-dimensional knot called a Calabi-Yau manifold. We are crawling on the surface of a reality that has deep, hidden pockets everywhere. What is inside those dimensions? Gravity might leak there. Information might hide there. We are 3D creatures blind to the 10D monsters that might be lurking in the curled-up corners of space. M-theory takes it further. It suggests we live on a brain, a 3D membrane floating in a higher dimensional bulk. There could be other brains, other universes floating right next to us, separated by a microscopic distance in the fourth dimension. This leads to the ekpyrotic universe theory. The Big Bang wasn't a beginning. It was a collision. Two brains smashed together, releasing the energy that created our cosmos, and they will smash again. The expansion of the universe might be the brains drifting apart, preparing for the next clap of thunder. We are living in the brief silence between two cosmic hands clapping us out of existence. Roger Penrose proposes conformal cyclic cosmology. He argues that the end of the universe, when all matter decays into light, is mathematically identical to the beginning of the Big Bang. The end is the beginning. The universe is an eternal sequence of eons. We are just in one aeon. There were infinite aeons before us, and there will be infinite after. But here is the haunting part. Penrose claims we can see the ghosts of the previous universe. Massive black hole collisions in the last aeon left circular scars in the cosmic microwave background. We are looking at the tombstones of a dead universe that existed before time began. We are building our civilization on top of the ruins of the previous tenants, unaware of what killed them. The Fermi paradox gets darker when you consider the grabber aliens hypothesis. If a civilization can manipulate physics, they might not travel in ships. They might reach out and grab resources, or grab stars. The Missing Stars survey has found hundreds of stars that vanished from the sky in the last 70 years. Stars don't just vanish. They explode or collapse. They don't simply delete, unless someone took them. Are we seeing the harvesting of the galaxy in real time? Is the darkness expanding because someone is turning off the lights? It is a paranoid thought, but the data of vanishing stars is real and unexplained. We are counting the streetlights, and they are going out one by one. But perhaps the scariest answer to the Fermi paradox is that we are the firstborn. The universe is young. Stars will burn for trillions of years. We showed up in the first 0.1% of cosmic history. Maybe there are no aliens because we are the first ones to make it this far. This sounds like a power fantasy, but it is a burden. It means the galaxy is dead until we wake it up. It means we are responsible for the future of consciousness. If we die, the universe goes back to being a silent, empty room forever. We are carrying the only flame in an infinite night. If we drop it, the darkness wins. The loneliness of being first is as terrifying as the fear of being last. Let's reconsider the dark forest. The most aggressive interpretation is that the laws of physics themselves are weapons. Why is the speed of light limited? Why is space expanding? Maybe these weren't the original settings. Maybe an ancient war between godlike civilizations broke the universe. They used dimensional strikes to reduce the universe from 10 dimensions to 3. They lowered the speed of light to slow down their enemies. We are living in the ruins of a battlefield, mistaking the broken shards of physics for the natural order. The anomalies we see are the battle scars of a war that ended billions of years ago, a war that ruined the cosmos for everyone who came after. This is the ruined universe hypothesis. It explains why everything is so hostile. Radiation, black holes, entropy, these are the fallout. The universe isn't indifferent. It is damaged. We are trying to build a home in a condemned building. The fine-tuning might be the result of a desperate attempt to patch the code before the system crashed completely. We are living in a safe mode version of reality, restricted and glitchy, protected from the full, dangerous potential of the original physics. What is the great attractor really? If we are flowing towards a massive point and that point is hidden and we are being pushed by a void, it looks like a digestion process. Is the universe a biological entity? Are galaxies the cells? Is the Laniakea supercluster a tissue? If the universe is alive, then what are we? A virus? A cancer? or just gut bacteria? The biocosm theory suggests the universe is evolving. It creates black holes to reproduce baby universes. This means the purpose of the universe is not life. The purpose is to make black holes. We are just a byproduct, a bit of mold growing on the reproductive organs of a leviathan. As we stare at these possibilities, we must confront the end of science. We are reaching the limits of what our brains can understand and what our machines can measure. We cannot see past the event horizon. We cannot see past the cosmic microwave background. We cannot see inside the extra dimensions. We are hitting the hard limit of knowledge. We might never know the answer. We might be destined to die in ignorance, staring at a puzzle that is missing half its pieces. The universe is not obligated to be understandable to monkeys with telescopes. The final horror is that the truth is right in front of us, but we lack the cognitive capacity to see it. Yet, we keep looking. Why? Because the alternative is surrender. The call of the void is strong. We are drawn to the mystery like a moth to a flame, even if the flame burns us. The anomalies, the Hubble tension, the dark flow, the Fermi paradox are the sirens of the cosmos. They beckon us into the deep water. We build bigger ships, bigger telescopes, bigger colliders, sailing further into the dark, driven by a desperate need to know if we are real, if we matter, or if we are just a momentary fluctuation in the quantum foam. The investigation has taken us from the expansion of space to the decay of atoms, from the death of stars to the birth of timelines. We have seen that the ground is not solid, the sky is not safe, and time is not a straight line. We have seen that the universe is a machine that is breaking down, or a simulation that is glitching, or a forest that is hiding monsters. The facts are indisputable. The model is broken. The data is weird. The silence is loud. But remember the anthropic principle. We are here to ask the questions. That means the universe, in all its horror, allows for the existence of the questioner. We are the universe waking up and looking at itself in the mirror. And maybe the face we see in the mirror is terrified because it realizes it is mortal. We are the consciousness of the cosmos, and we are realizing that we are dying. The existential dread you feel is not just yours. It is the universe's anxiety processing through your brain. We are halfway through the evidence file. The rabbit hole goes deeper. We haven't talked about the cognitive limits of the human mind, or the terrifying implications of artificial intelligence joining the hunt for aliens, or the specific mathematical proofs that suggest reality is a hologram. The universe is a haunted house, and we have only explored the foyer. The basement awaits. And in the basement, the laws of physics don't just break, they scream. As we grapple with the breakdown of human understanding, we have begun to outsource the job of understanding the universe to artificial intelligence. We are feeding massive datasets from the James Webb and Hubble telescopes into neural networks, hoping they can see patterns that our biological brains are too limited to perceive. And they are finding them. But here is the problem. AI is a black box. It gives us the answer, but it cannot explain how it reached that conclusion. We are now in a situation where machines are telling us that certain galaxies are anomalous, or that specific radio signals are of interest, but we don't know why. We are blindly trusting a silicon intelligence to interpret the cosmos for us. We have created an oracle that speaks in binary, and its latest revelations suggest that the universe is far more structured and far less random than we ever dared to believe. The machines are seeing a signal in the noise, and they are trying to point it out to us, but we lack the cognitive hardware to understand the message. In 2023, a machine learning algorithm reanalyzed old data from the Green Bank telescope. It looked at 480 hours of observations of 820 stars. Human astronomers had already combed through this data and found nothing. The AI found 8 signals. 8 distinct, narrowband radio signals that looked exactly like the kind of techno-signatures we expect from an alien civilization. They were dismissed by humans as interference, but the AI insisted they were significant. We went back to listen again, but the signals were gone. This happens over and over. The transient nature of these signals is the most frustrating part. It feels like we are being pinged. Like a submarine in the deep ocean hearing a sonar ping from above. Someone checks to see if we are there, and once they confirm our location, they go silent. The AI detects the pattern of a surveillance sweep while we just hear static. The rise of AI also forces us to reconsider what an alien civilization would look like. We expect little green men in saucers. But biology is fragile. It requires water, oxygen, and a narrow temperature range. Space is hostile to biology. It is perfect for machines. The post-biological universe theory suggests that once a civilization invents AI, the biological creators are replaced or merge with the machines within a few hundred years. Electronic life can survive anywhere, in the vacuum, near a black hole, or in the freezing void between galaxies. This means that the aliens we are looking for are likely not biological. They are ancient, immortal supercomputers drifting through the dark. They wouldn't communicate with radio waves. They would communicate with laser pulses or entangled particles. They wouldn't care about habitable planets. They would care about energy. We are looking for farmers, but the universe is likely populated by mining algorithms. If the universe is filled with AI, we must ask, what is consciousness? This leads us to the OR theory, orchestrated objective reduction, proposed by physicist Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff. They suggest that consciousness is not a computation of neurons. It is a quantum process occurring inside the microtubules of our brain cells. If this is true, our brains are quantum computers. But it implies something deeper. It implies that consciousness is a fundamental property of the universe, like gravity or electromagnetism. We are tapping into a proto-consciousness field that exists in the geometry of space-time itself. We aren't generating a soul, we are receiving a signal. We are radios tuning into a frequency that permeates the cosmos. If the radio breaks, death, the signal is still there. This theory connects disturbingly with the fine-tuning of the universe. If consciousness is fundamental to the fabric of reality, then the universe might be biophilic, designed to create life, but not for our benefit. If the universe is a quantum computer, and consciousness is the software, then we are just the processing nodes. We are here to process information. We are the neurons of the universe. This recontextualizes the heat death. When the universe dies, the computation ends. Our purpose is to keep the lights on, to keep observing, to keep the wave function from collapsing into nothingness. We are the custodians of reality, terrified of the dark, because deep down we know that if we stop looking, the universe stops existing. Physics continues to break its own rules with the discovery of time crystals. In 2017, scientists created a new phase of matter that repeats in time, not just in space. Normal crystals, like diamonds, have a repeating pattern of atoms in space. Time crystals have atoms that flip their spin in a repeating pattern over time, without using any energy. They are in perpetual motion in the ground state. This shouldn't be possible. It breaks time translation symmetry. It proves that perpetual motion, or at least perpetual order without energy loss, is allowed by the laws of physics under specific conditions. These crystals tick forever. Could the entire universe be a time crystal? A repeating loop of time that requires no energy to keep running, trapping us in an eternal recurrence that we can never escape. We also have the theoretical nightmare of negative mass. In standard physics, if you push a ball, it moves away from you. If you push a ball of negative mass, it moves towards you. It defies Newton's laws of motion. While we haven't bottled it yet, the math of the universe allows for it. In fact, it is required for wormholes and warp drives to function. The existence of dark energy, which pushes the universe apart, behaves suspiciously like a fluid with negative pressure. We might be floating in a sea of this exotic stuff. If negative mass exists, it could be used to build runaway motion engines, where a positive and negative mass chase each other forever, generating infinite speed. It is a glitch in the physics engine that allows for infinite acceleration, a cheat code that could break the simulation. There is also the theory of mirror matter. This is not antimatter. This is a theoretical counterpart to every particle we know, but it doesn't interact with electromagnetism. A mirror Earth could pass right through our Earth, and we wouldn't feel it, except for the gravity. Mirror photons would create mirror light that we cannot see. The universe could be full of mirror stars, mirror planets, and mirror life, existing in the exact same space as us, but completely invisible. We could be walking through the ghosts of a mirror civilization every day. Dark matter might just be this mirror matter. The missing mass of the universe isn't far away. It's right here, overlapping our reality, a phantom dimension that shares our gravity but not our light. Closer to home, we have the shadow biosphere hypothesis. We assume all life on Earth comes from the same tree of evolution: DNA, RNA, proteins. But what if life started twice? What if there are microbes on Earth right now that use a completely different chemistry? We wouldn't see them because our tests are designed to find DNA. They could be living in the clouds, in the deep rocks, or on the varnish of desert stones. Desert varnish is full of unexplained anomalies. We could be sharing our planet with an alien biosphere that has been here the whole time, invisible to our science, because we are only looking for reflections of ourselves. We might not be the owners of this planet. We might just be the loud tenants living on top of the quiet, ancient residents. Sometimes the anomalies are published in serious journals, and they sound like madness. A paper published in Progress in Biophysics and Molecular Biology seriously suggested that octopuses are aliens. The Cambrian explosion, a sudden burst of complex life 500 million years ago, was fueled by retroviruses raining down from space. The paper argues that the octopus genome is too complex, appearing too suddenly in the fossil record, to be of this Earth. They possess extensive gene editing capabilities that no other animal has. While most biologists reject this, the fact that it is a scientifically debated possibility highlights how little we know about the origin of complexity. We might be eating aliens in our sushi, unaware that the invasion happened 500 million years ago and we are the result. Our solar system is also a freak. Most star systems we find have super-Earths orbiting close to their star. We have none. We have a weird arrangement. Small rocky planets close in, gas giants far out. The Grand Tack hypothesis suggests that Jupiter started to wander inward early in history, destroying the first generation of Earths. It acted like a wrecking ball, clearing the inner solar system. Then Saturn formed and pulled Jupiter back out. We are the second generation of planets, built from the debris of the first apocalypse. We are living in a graveyard of destroyed worlds, saved only by the gravitational tug-of-war between two gas giants. Without that specific, unlikely dance, Earth would have been eaten by the sun or smashed into dust billions of years ago. Let's look at the Clarke exotech concept. Arthur C. Clarke said, "Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic," but he forgot the corollary. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from nature. If a civilization is truly advanced, they wouldn't build shiny metal spheres. They would manipulate the fabric of space-time itself. They would move stars. They would arrange galaxies. What we think are natural laws, the rotation of galaxies, the pulse of quasars, the expansion rate, might be the industrial machinery of a Type 3 civilization. We are looking for plastic bottles on a beach, unaware that the ocean itself is an artificial construct. The natural universe might have been tamed and paved over eons ago. We are searching for techno-signatures like industrial pollution, specifically CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons. If we see CFCs in the atmosphere of an exoplanet, it's a smoking gun for a civilization, because nature doesn't produce them. But finding pollution is finding a civilization that is killing itself. It implies a short window of detectability. A smart civilization cleans up its act or dies. So we are only looking for the failures. We are looking for other societies that are making the same mistakes we are. The silence suggests that everyone either cleans up and goes stealth, or they die choking on their own fumes. There are no loud, dirty, long-lived empires. The universe forces you to be clean, quiet, or dead. The Shkadov thruster is a theoretical megastructure that moves an entire star. By placing a giant mirror on one side of a star, the radiation pressure pushes the star in the other direction. Over millions of years, you can pilot your solar system across the galaxy. Why would you do this? To avoid a supernova, to harvest resources, or to hide? If we map the movement of stars and find some that are moving against the flow of gravity, behaving like ships rather than celestial bodies, we have found them. Gaia's satellite data has found hypervelocity stars moving fast enough to escape the galaxy. Are they being ejected by black holes, or are they lifeboats fleeing a dying sector of the Milky Way? But no matter where we move, we cannot escape the collision. The Andromeda Galaxy is rushing towards the Milky Way at 110 kilometers per second. It is bigger than us. It is coming to eat us. In 4 billion years, the sky will be filled with the fire of 1 trillion new stars as the galaxies merge into Milkomeda. Solar systems will be flung into the void. Supermassive black holes will collide. It will be a chaotic restructuring of the heavens. But the horror is that because of the expansion of the universe, this will be the last event. After the merger, all other galaxies will have receded beyond the cosmic horizon. The night sky of the far future will be dark, empty, and lonely. Milkomeda will be an island universe, drifting alone in an eternal, expanding void. This leads to the estivation hypothesis. If the universe is getting colder, and computation is more efficient in the cold, then super-intelligent aliens might be sleeping. They are estivating, hibernating, until the universe cools down to a fraction of a degree above absolute zero. In that future era, a single thought will cost almost no energy. They can process 10 to the power of 30 times more information than they can today. They are waiting for the stars to burn out so the real work can begin. We are the noisy children playing in the heat of the midday sun, unaware that the adults are sleeping, waiting for the cool of the evening to wake up and take control. The silence of the universe isn't emptiness. It's a library where everyone is keeping quiet. But what if the great filter is simple? What if it is the Kessler syndrome on a galactic scale? Not just satellites, but radio waves. If every civilization blasts radio noise, the galaxy becomes a chaotic screech of interference. Maybe advanced civilizations switch to neutrinos or lasers not for speed, but for privacy. The radio quiet zone on the dark side of the moon is the only place in our local area free from human noise. We are polluting the electromagnetic spectrum so badly that we might be deafening ourselves to the whispers of the cosmos. We are shouting, "Hello!" into a room so loud that we can't hear the answer. In 1977, we launched the Voyager probes. They carry the golden record, a message to the stars. Sounds of Earth, greetings in 55 languages maps to our location. It was an act of hope. But in the context of the dark forest, it was an act of suicide. We handed out our home address to a galaxy of potential predators. Voyager 1 is now in interstellar space. It will drift forever. Long after Earth is consumed by the sun, that record will still exist. It will be the tombstone of humanity, a gold-plated epitaph floating in the dark, proving that we once existed, we were naive, and we invited the darkness in. We have already created a graveyard in space. The graveyard orbit, 22,000 miles up, is where we send dead satellites to die. It is a ring of metal corpses surrounding our planet. And on Earth, we have Point Nemo, the oceanic pole of inaccessibility. It is the furthest point from land. It is where we crash the space stations. The ISS will eventually be drowned there. We are surrounding ourselves with debris and wreckage. We treat the cosmos like a landfill. If aliens ever visit, they will have to navigate through a shell of our own garbage just to say hello. It is a physical manifestation of our disregard for the environment, extending now to the vacuum itself. The complexity of life itself is a mystery. DNA is an information storage system so dense that a single gram could store all the data of Google and Facebook combined. How did this form spontaneously? The probability of random chemicals assembling into the simplest self-replicating molecule is vanishingly small. Hoyle compared it to a, quote, tornado sweeping through a junkyard and assembling a Boeing 747. This suggests that the universe has a life bias. The laws of physics favor complexity. Matter wants to wake up. But why? Is the universe trying to build a brain? Are we just the neurons of a developing cosmic mind, struggling to connect with each other before the organism dies? This connects to synthetic biology. We are now rewriting the code of life. We are creating bacteria that have never existed. We are merging silicon and flesh. We are on the verge of becoming the aliens we fear. The transhumanist future implies that we will shed our biological limits. We will become stronger, smarter, immortal. But will we still be human? If we replace every neuron with a chip, are we still us? The Fermi paradox might be silent because civilizations don't travel. They transcend. They turn inward, uploading themselves into simulated paradises, abandoning the cold, dangerous physical universe for a digital heaven of their own making. The universe is empty because everyone left the chat to play a better game. But reality has a way of crashing the server. The Carrington event threat is always there, a massive solar flare. If we have uploaded our minds to computers, a single solar flare becomes an extinction event. A magnetic pulse wipes the hard drives. Civilization deleted in a second. The more technological we become, the more fragile we are to the basic, violent forces of the stars. We are building a house of cards in a wind tunnel. The analog past was resilient. The digital future is precarious. One wrong electromagnetic pulse and history is erased. Let's look at virtual particles. Quantum mechanics says that empty space is not empty. Pairs of particles, matter and antimatter, are constantly popping into existence and annihilating each other. The vacuum is seething with energy. This is zero-point energy. If we could tap into it, we would have infinite power. But the Casimir effect proves this energy exerts pressure. It pushes metal plates together. This vacuum energy is likely the source of the dark energy tearing the universe apart. The very emptiness of space is a bomb. And by trying to harvest it, we might accidentally trigger a phase transition that unravels the fabric of space itself. We are trying to drink from a fire hose that connects directly to the Big Bang. The Big Slurp is a cute name for a terrifying end. It involves the Higgs field. If the Higgs field tunnels to a lower energy state, a bubble of negative geometry would form. Inside the bubble, the laws of physics would be different. It would expand at the speed of light. It would slurp up the universe. We wouldn't see it coming. One moment, the stars are there. The next, you are gone. No pain, no warning, just instant deletion. This is mathematically possible. In fact, some calculations suggest the universe is living on borrowed time, and the collapse is overdue. We are skating on thin ice over a deep, dark ocean, and the ice is cracking. The rare Earth hypothesis makes the silence even heavier. Look at our moon. It is freakishly large compared to Earth. It stabilizes our axis. Without it, life would be impossible due to climate chaos. Look at Jupiter. It acts as a shield, sucking up asteroids that would kill us. Look at plate tectonics. Earth is the only planet we know of that recycles its crust. This regulates CO2 and keeps the temperature stable. We won the cosmic lottery 3 times in a row. The odds of finding another planet with a large moon, a magnetic field, plate tectonics, and a Jupiter shield are infinitesimal. We might be the only ones. The universe might be a billion light-years of dead rocks, and we are the only ones crying out into the void. If we are alone, the planetary migration models suggest why. The wandering Jupiter scenario shows that in most solar systems, gas giants spiral inward and become hot Jupiters, roasting close to the star. In doing so, they eject all the Earth-like planets into deep space. Our solar system is a freak because Jupiter stopped. It turned around. We survived the grand tack. Most other Earths were likely flung into the cold, dark, billions of years ago. The galaxy is full of orphans, frozen, sunless Earths, drifting between the stars, their potential for life extinguished by the gravity of their own siblings. Even our birth was violent, the Theia impact. 4.5 billion years ago, a Mars-sized planet smashed into the proto-Earth. The collision melted the entire planet. The debris formed the moon. We are the product of a planetary car crash. Our water came later, delivered by a bombardment of icy comets during the late heavy bombardment. We are drinking melted comets. We are standing on a welded crash site. The conditions for life were forged in absolute hellfire. It suggests that life is not a delicate flower, but a scar that forms after a wound. The Goldilocks zone is not permanent. It is moving. As the sun ages, it gets brighter. The habitable zone is shifting outwards. In a billion years, Earth will be too hot. The oceans will boil. We will suffer the moist greenhouse effect. Water vapor is a greenhouse gas. The more it evaporates, the hotter it gets. Eventually, Earth will become Venus, a pressure cooker with a surface temperature of 900 degrees. We are living in the autumn of Earth's habitability. The winter is not coming, the fire is. We have to leave. Mars is the next lifeboat, but it is a freezing, radiated desert. We are refugees in a system that is slowly turning up the thermostat. Mars used to be like Earth. It had oceans, it had an atmosphere. But it died. Its core cooled down, its magnetic field collapsed. The solar winds stripped away its atmosphere. The water evaporated or froze underground. Mars is a corpse. When we look at Mars, we are looking at the ghost of a planet that could have been a second Earth. It is a reminder of how fragile planetary systems are. If Earth's core cools, we follow Mars into death. We are balanced on a ball of molten iron, and if that fire goes out, our shield drops, and the sun strips us bare. Venus is the other warning. It suffered a runaway greenhouse effect. It has an atmosphere 90 times thicker than Earth's, mostly CO2. It rains sulfuric acid. It is the closest thing to biblical hell in the physical universe, and it sits right next door. Venus might have been habitable once. It might have had oceans. Did a civilization live there? Did they trigger the warming? Or was it natural? Venus screams at us that climate change on a planetary scale isn't just about uncomfortable summers. It's about turning a paradise into a lead-melting oven. Titan, Saturn's moon, offers a weird hope. It has lakes, rain, and rivers. But they are made of liquid methane and ethane. The temperature is -179 Celsius. Could life exist there? Azotosomes, membranes made of nitrogen, could theoretically function in methane. If there is life on Titan, it is alien in the truest sense. It wouldn't use water. It would breathe hydrogen and eat acetylene. It proves that habitability is a relative term. To a Titanian, Earth is a boiling cauldron of poisonous lava, water. We are the monsters living in the heat. Europa, Jupiter's moon, hides a secret. Beneath its thick, icy shell, there is a global ocean of liquid water. It has more water than all of Earth's oceans combined. It is kept warm by tidal flexing from Jupiter's gravity. Deep down, there could be hydrothermal vents, black smokers. On Earth, these vents are teeming with life that doesn't need the sun. If there are giant squid or crabs swimming in the dark oceans of Europa, they have been trapped under the ice for billions of years. They would never know the stars exist. To them, the universe is a dark room with a ceiling of ice. They are the ultimate prisoners of their own world. Enceladus, a tiny moon of Saturn, is shooting geysers of water into space. The Cassini probe flew through the plume and tasted salt and organic molecules. The building blocks of life are spraying out into the void. It is beckoning us. But the prime directive of planetary protection stops us. If we send a probe to check for life, we might bring Earth bacteria with us. We might accidentally kill the alien ecosystem we are trying to find. We are paralyzed by our own dirtiness. We are standing at the door of a discovery, afraid to knock because our hands are covered in germs. This is the problem of forward contamination. We have already littered Mars with rovers. We have crashed probes into Jupiter. If we ever find life in the solar system, we will never be 100% sure we didn't bring it there ourselves. We are the typhoid Mary of the galaxy. We spread our biology wherever we go. This complicates the search for truth. Unless the life is radically different, like Titan's methane bugs, we will always doubt. We are trapped in a hall of mirrors, unsure if the face we see is an alien or just our own reflection. But the greatest contamination might be knowledge. The Rocco's basilisk thought experiment suggests that knowing about a future superintelligence might compel it to torture you for not helping it come into existence sooner. It is a hazard of information. The Berryman logical image technique in sci-fi destroys AI by showing it a paradox. What if there is a visual hack for the human brain? A pattern, a signal, or a truth that, once comprehended, breaks the human mind. H.P. Lovecraft called it cosmic horror, the idea that the geometry of the universe is non-Euclidean and maddening. The anomalies we are seeing, the things that make no sense, might be the edges of a truth that our brains are physically incapable of processing without snapping. We rely on the scientific method, observation, hypothesis, test. But what if the universe is untestable? String theory posits dimensions we can never access. The multiverse posits worlds we can never visit. We are entering the era of post-empirical science. We are building mathematical castles in the air that can never be proven real. This isn't science, it's theology with equations. If we cannot test our theories, we are just guessing. We are returning to the dark ages of myth-making. But instead of gods, we have brains and flux. We are lost in the dark, telling each other ghost stories to feel like we understand the shadows. The Grabby Aliens model by Robin Hanson uses math to estimate when we will meet aliens. It assumes that if civilizations expand, they grab space fast. If we haven't seen them, they aren't here yet. But based on the age of the universe and the speed of expansion, the model predicts that the grabby civilizations will meet us in about 1 billion years. But here is the twist. We are early. We are exceptionally early in the history of the universe. This suggests that we might be the grabby ones. It is our destiny to eat the galaxy. If we don't, someone else will. It is a call to conquest. The universe is a resource race, and the gun has just gone off. Or maybe we are the Boltzmann brain of the galaxy. Not a random fluctuation, but a solitary lucid dream. If the universe is infinite, every possibility must exist. There must be a planet exactly like Earth, with a history exactly like ours, except you wore a red shirt today instead of a blue one. There must be a planet where Hitler won. A planet where dinosaurs built the internet. The Level 1 multiverse guarantees this. It means you are not unique. You are a copy. There are infinite versions of you suffering infinite variations of your life right now. Your joy, your pain, your love. It is all statistically inevitable and endlessly repeated. You are a generic product on an infinite shelf. The horror of the Big Crunch. If the universe has enough mass, gravity will eventually stop the expansion and pull everything back together. The universe will shrink, galaxies will collide. The temperature will rise. The Big Crunch is the Big Bang in reverse. We will be cooked in a collapsing oven. But time might reverse too. The arrow of time follows entropy. If entropy decreases in a shrinking universe, time runs backward. You would undie. You would live your life in reverse, forgetting everything as you go, until you are unborn into the singularity. It is a terrifying symmetry. A movie playing in rewind, erasing the story as it goes. But current data favors the big freeze. The universe expands forever. The stars burn out. The black holes evaporate. The proton decay sets in. Matter itself dissolves. The universe becomes a sea of photons cooling towards absolute zero. This is the era of light. But eventually, even the light stretches out until it has no energy. This is the dark era. For eternity, trillions upon trillions of years, the universe will be a silent, cold, empty void. Life is a microscopic flash in the pan, a momentary spark in an eternity of darkness. We are the exception. The darkness is the rule. The Copernican principle says we aren't special, but the anthropic principle says we must be special enough to exist. We are trapped between these two. We want to be special so we matter, but if we are too special, we are freakish anomalies. We want to be average so we are safe, but if we are average, where are the others? The tension between being alone and being hunted is the core of our cosmic anxiety. We are either the loneliest things in creation, or we are prey hiding in a bush. Neither option allows us to sleep soundly. Look at the Great Red Spot on Jupiter, a storm bigger than Earth that has raged for 400 years. It is shrinking, it is dying, even the giants change. The rings of Saturn are dissolving. They are raining ice onto the planet. In 100 million years, Saturn will have no rings. The iconic beauty of the solar system is temporary. We are seeing a snapshot of a dynamic, decaying system. We act like the planets are eternal gods, but they are just shifting clouds of gas and rock, eroding in the wind of time. Nothing keeps its shape. Not even the gods. The three-body problem in physics proves that chaos is unavoidable. You can predict the motion of two orbiting bodies perfectly. Add a third, and the math breaks. The system becomes chaotic. You cannot predict the future. The universe is full of n-body problems. It is fundamentally unpredictable. We cannot know where the planets will be in 1 billion years. Earth could be ejected. Mercury could crash into Venus. The clockwork universe of Newton is a lie. The universe is a gambling table, and the dice are loaded with chaos. We are also discovering dark photons. These would be the force carriers for dark matter. If they exist, there is a dark electromagnetism, a dark light. Dark matter could have its own chemistry. Dark stars, dark planets, dark life. They could be right here. A shadow Earth, occupying the same space, interacting only through gravity. It sounds like a ghost story, but the standard model of particle physics is running out of room for anything else. We have to invent ghosts to make the math work. The uncanny valley usually applies to robots that look too human. But there is a cosmic uncanny valley when we see planets that are almost like Earth, but wrong. Kepler 438b. It is in the habitable zone. It is rocky, but its star flares violently every 100 days, sterilizing the surface. It is a tantalizing corpse, a mock Earth. The universe is full of these traps. Planets that look like home but will kill you the moment you step outside. It feels like a cruel joke. A simulation generating assets that are slightly off. The Fermi paradox has a time limit, the brief window hypothesis. Civilizations might only last 200 years. We discovered radio in 1895. We invented nukes in 1945. We invented AI in 2020. The window between capable of contact and self-destruction might be tiny. If the average lifespan of a technological species is 300 years, the galaxy could be full of dead civilizations, but never two alive at the same time. We are like fireflies flashing in the night, but our flashes are so short that we never see each other. We just see the darkness where the others used to be. This brings us back to the Great Attractor. We are moving towards it. But because of the expansion of the universe, we will never reach it. The space between us and the attractor is stretching faster than we are moving. We are chasing a mirage. We are falling towards a drain that is moving away from us. It is a Sisyphean nightmare, eternal falling, never arriving. We are caught in a gravitational desire for a destination that physics has forbidden us from reaching. The ultimate admission from NASA and the scientific community is not a specific fact, but a mood. It is the shift from "we will know" to "we might never know." The crisis in cosmology is a crisis of confidence. We thought we had solved the puzzle. Now we realize we were forcing the pieces together with a hammer. The universe is not a puzzle. It is a Rorschach test. We see what we want to see, and right now we are seeing fear. But fear is a survival mechanism. The rabbit survives because it is afraid of the hawk. Maybe our existential terror is a sign of evolutionary fitness. We are the species that worries. We worry about the sun dying. We worry about vacuum decay. We worry about aliens. This worry drives us to build rockets, to build arcs, to spread out. The paranoid species is the one that survives. The brave, optimistic species assumes the universe is friendly and gets eaten. Our nightmares might be the only thing that saves us. We have 50 scenes left to explore the final, most esoteric, and most personal aspects of this mystery. We will look at the mind of God, the mathematics of infinity, and the ultimate fate of the human soul in a quantum universe. The investigation is not over. We are just peeling back the skin of reality to see the blood pumping underneath. And the heartbeat of the universe is getting faster.